If you think self-care is about spa days or skincare routines, think again. It's actually one of the most powerful leadership tools you're not using enough. In this episode of Be Unmessable with the podcast, Jacquuie Ooh shares how losing her son shattered her and how she rebuilt her life through wellness, vision, and impact. This is not about self-care as a buzzword. It's about learning to create peace on demand. Set boundaries like a boss, and design your days from intention, not exhaustion. If you're someone with a big vision, this one's for you. Unmessable with podcast. I'm your host, Josselyne Herman-Saccio, and today is all about self-care, which is something most of us neglect. And Jacqueline Johnson is a visionary who is behind Jacquuie Ooh. She is about empowering women and people to thrive, women, but other people too, to thrive through wellness and self-care. And she created the Glow Collection, which is an all-natural skincare line. She has a podcast. She does retreats. I've been on her podcast, and I was so excited that she said yes to be on my podcast
Yes.
because one of the biggest things that messes with people is self-care. So welcome, Jacquuie Ooh.
Thank you. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Jocelyn. I am super excited to be here. And thank you for the invitation. For sure, for sure.
Well, thank you for accepting the invitation.
Yes.
And, let's just get right to it. Let's just tell people a little bit about your journey and how you ended up doing all of this, to empower people with their self care.
So I got started with the Glow Collection by Jacquuie Ooh, which is my all natural skincare line filled with all types of yummy, yummy ingredients, all certified organic ingredients by my daughters. My two daughters, Layla and Maya, they were 5 and 10 at the time. And they said, Mom, we want to start a business. And I said, yes. I didn't think about it. I didn't say like, oh, I don't have the money. Let's wait. All the excuses that we have. I said, yes, let's do it. I had no idea what I was doing. But
Isn't
that
that the
was
best, though? That's like the most
it.
exciting time, isn't it?
It is. That was the best decision that I made to start that business with my daughters. And for 7 years, we did some amazing things with their business. And so then they decided that they wanted to do something different. I enjoyed the skincare part of the business. So I went back to school. I learned some different things, how to formulate and add different oils, all the things for us aging women that we need. And I rebranded. And so that's how I came up with the Glow Collection by Jacquuie Ooh. And again, it's a whole line. We have a cleanser, toner, moisturizer, serum, cuticle oil, calming
Mm.
butter, and a beard oil. So that's a part of my collection. And then how I got started with Jacquuie Ooh, the platform that I have that helps women to think well and to live well, was back in 2004. My middle son, Justin, was killed in a car accident. And that was a really, really tough and a dark time in my life. And
Unimaginable, I'm sure,
it
for most of
was,
us.
man, I can't even describe it. The pain that you lose of a child is just, it is a literal pain. It is a literal ache that a parent has. And so I didn't know if I was going to make it. I didn't. I had thoughts of suicide. I was just in a really, really bad place. And I eventually pulled myself up out of that place with the help of my family and my faith. I did that. And I realized that there was a whole community of women that needed the support that I had. And so I started this nonprofit organization called Heart's Desire. And my goal was to try to reach as many women who had lost children as I could.
Mm.
And so eventually, Heart's Desire just really grew and grew until I was just helping women from just everywhere. And then that's how my self care came into play because even during that time, I realized after I came out of it, the importance of self care. I had let myself go and I was just a mess. But that was my inspiration of why I started my skincare line and the Jacquuie Ooh community.
I know I've mentioned this to you before, but I lost my brother back in 1990. So this is a
Mhm.
long time ago. And I remember thinking to myself, because I was not his parent, I was his sister, and it was hard
Yeah.
for me. But to look at my parents, and especially my mother, because it was her son from a prior marriage,
Mhm.
or he was her son from a prior marriage, to see her come through that. I couldn't fathom the kind of courage, the kind of strength. And I like to call my mother the unmessable with OG because she really has dealt with more. I mean, she's got dementia now. She's broken her hip. She had a stroke. She broke her pelvis. And she comes out like stronger and stronger.
Yeah.
And that kind of fortitude and unmessable withness
Mhm.
is my inspiration for everything that I'm doing. So if I look at you and you in those difficult circumstances, and for those of you listening, we all have difficult circumstances
Yeah.
that happen. It might not be as traumatic as losing a child, which I can't even fathom, what that
Mhm.
would be like. But whatever the difficulty is, the question is, what is it that allowed you to not stay down for the count, not just get in bed, pull the covers over your head, and be messable with,
Yeah.
but actually transcend that circumstance and be able to create what you created out of it? What would
Mhm.
you say was the thing that moved you from one side to the other?
I think what really moved me was two things. The first was Justin and just the type of young man that he was, his spirit. He smiled. He had just a beautiful smile. And every time you saw him, he was smiling, regardless of probably what he was feeling, what he was thinking. That was one of the things. And I could see him even now. Mom, I'm proud of you. Mom, you can do it. Mom, keep going. And I knew that he wouldn't want me to stay in that situation because of the type of spirit that he was. And I also feel another thing. It's my faith,
Mhm.
my faith, my faith in God, and my hope in Him that I knew that it had to be better.
Yeah.
It had to be better. And so, even in my messable moment and even in my mess, I still had that deep in me, right? That I could just hold on to it. And I knew that it had to be and that it would be better. So I think those two things is what really helped to bring me out of it and to the
Yeah.
point to where I am.
And I love what you've done with it because so many people, they might survive a situation like
Yeah.
that, but they don't create from it. And that is one of the elements that I consider to be so unmessable with about you, is
Mhm.
that you've taken whatever it is and you've used it to make an impact with people, not just get through it, but actually you not use it, but have it fuel you to make the kind of
Mhm.
difference that you want to make with people in the world. So I love what you're doing. And I want to talk a little bit about more about what you're doing with self-care.
Mhm.
Because again, one of the biggest things that I've found in working with people for 35 years is the first thing that goes out the window is self-care.
Absolutely.
You're doing your business, you're taking care
Mhm.
of your family, you're trying to, get the bills paid or
Mhm.
whatever it is. Self care is the last thing on most people's list. So,
Yeah.
talk to us about how we can prioritize it because it is so important.
Yeah. One of the things that I do right now to this day is setting those boundaries. And I know you know all about that, Jocelyn, is setting those boundaries. And people that work with me, they already know after 8 o'clock, do not call my phone, do not text me, do not email. And if you do, you won't get a response until the next day. My weekends are the same because running a business, taking care of a family, you can get lost and you can put yourself on the back burner and you keep going, going, going. And that's that burnout. I believe you've talked about that
Yes,
before
I've talked
too.
about it with your
Yeah.
cousin, Dr.
Yes.
Sundra, right?
Yes.
Yes.
That's that burnout. And so when you have that burnout, how can you help anyone else? How can you be effective to anyone else and even yourself? And then what happens when you keep going and going and not taking care of yourself? All types of ailments happen. Every all types of things happen with women and with men, but because we're talking to women, well, my audience mostly is women. That's what I really talk about. Like, you have all types of pains and aches and all types of things
And
that
sleep
comes from,
problems and
yes, from stress and you not taking care of yourself. So you have to set those boundaries. You have to set boundaries, and they have to be healthy boundaries. Some of the things that I do, and again, what I do may not work for you. You have to find what works for you. But what works for me is journaling. I love to journal. I have journals everywhere. And it doesn't have to be this like fancy journal that you go spend all this money for. It could be just a little notepad, and you can label it. You can put dates on it if you like, because I like to go back and read through my journal 6 months ago. Oh, wow, I said this and it's manifested. Look, here it is. So, journaling, that is a really great thing for self care. Taking time out of the day, taking those 5 minute, 10 minute, 15-minute breaks throughout the day does a world of a difference. Unplugging from our devices that we are on almost 24/7, unplugging, you know, from
and
that.
not having it right next to you. It's like I notice when it's
Yes.
charging next to me. So when I wake up, it's the first thing I do is go for my
Mhm.
device, right? And
Yep.
I don't notice it when I'm doing it, but I notice it when my husband does it. When he wakes up and looks
Um,
at his device, I go, "You shouldn't be doing that," as I'm doing it, of course,
right,
do as
right,
I
right,
say, not as I do. But I can
right.
see it in other people,
Yeah.
the detriment that it is. And that's just one
Mhm.
simple thing, like buy a real alarm clock and put your phone in the other room.
Exactly. Exactly. And you know what? I used to do that. I need to get back to doing that, because you're right. If it's on your bedside, you will pick it up and say, "Oh, I need to check this. I need to do this. I need to do that." But when you set those boundaries, like, no, that's not the first thing I'm going to do. The first thing I'm going to do when I get up in the morning is I'm going to be grateful. I'm going to sit on side the bed and say, "Oh, I'm so grateful that I woke up this morning. I'm so grateful that I'm able to brush my teeth and put my clothes on, do my devotional." Then, okay, let me see what I need to do on the phone. Another thing is just, you don't have to spend a lot of money to do self care.
I
You
think
don't.
that's important. This is
It's
good because
very,
most people think, "Oh, I can't afford a spa or I can't afford
yeah,
a whatever." What can people do for no
yeah,
cost really,
yeah.
but that will get them tremendous value?
Absolutely. So, here's a plug with my calming butter. It is just what it says. It's a calming butter. And so, like, you can use different oils, different butters, whatever that you want to use. Put it on and just sit there, drink a cup of tea. You can, like I said, you can journal. Another thing that I like to do is color. I love to color in a coloring book. I'll get an adult coloring book from the dollar store.
An
It's
adult
got the
coloring book sounds kind of I don't know, that sounds kind of racy, Jackie.
hey,
Well,
but
whatever relaxes you.
yes. And it's, you're coloring, and I don't know, it's just something about that coloring book. So just things like that that are simple. Spending time with your girlfriends, going to brunch, having mimosas, laughing, catching up with each other, because again, we are so busy, but we have to, like, it is essential, it is crucial that we set time aside for some self care. And
Well, it's
again, it's not a lot of money. You
It
can do
doesn't have to
something
be at
small.
all. No, it
Yeah.
doesn't. I mean, I know going for a 20-minute walk for me in the morning
Yes.
sets my day up in a different way. If I don't
Hmm.
do that, I have a different energy level throughout the day.
Right.
I coach my clients to schedule recharge time throughout the day, whether
Yes.
it's 15 minutes or half an hour. And that could be having a cup of tea or could be petting your pet. That's been
Yeah.
proven that if you pet a cat or a dog, your blood pressure goes down, your nervous system, calms. There's also a great app. I mean, I don't get anything from this. It's a free app called Insight Timer that has meditations and,
Mm-hmm.
things that you can listen to for 3 minutes. You can do a
Mm-hmm.
3 minute. There's no way anybody listening doesn't have 3 minutes. If you can't
Yeah.
carve out 3 minutes of your day to recharge, we recharge our phones. How do we think that we don't need recharging? We are bigger
Yeah.
than our phones. We need
Absolutely.
recharging.
Yeah.
And it's so important to design it because life is not going to give you time to recharge. You have to design it. Life's
Yeah.
going to just give you stuff to deal with,
Yeah. I agree. I totally agree. And when you were talking about that 3 minute, that app, that sounds like a great app. I'm going to get that for myself, add that to my collection. But you spend 3 minutes scrolling on
Ugh, at
social media.
least 3 minutes. I mean, you should put a timer. They have it on the phone to time
Yeah.
how much you're on your phone, and
Right.
you'll be shocked. I
Yeah.
have people track it so they can start reducing it. It
Yeah.
is useless to most of it. I mean, I'm not saying people who work from, send emails and all that kind
Mhm.
of stuff, but most of the time that we spend on those kind of social media apps are not really necessary and aren't necessarily adding to the value or energy in our life.
Right.
Sometimes, little cat videos here and there, of
Right.
course, make
Yeah.
you laugh and smile, and that's important. But my husband can spend hours scrolling about jujitsu and cooking. These are his two things, Like if you look at his feed, it's all Italians, cooking, and
Mhm.
and jujitsu, which he
Right.
loves. But 3 hours of that,
Yeah. Yeah. That's a lot.
better to go to the gym, which he does too.
Right.
So not to
I
get down
agree.
on my husband, he's very great about everything, but it's
Yeah.
it's it's a black hole for us. We can
Hmm.
just, I mean, I could, watch my friends' feeds. I watch your
Yeah.
posts. I watch, people's, and by
Yeah.
the time, you wake up, it's, 30 minutes later.
Yeah. That's true. So true. So
Yeah.
true.
Yeah. So finding things to do, journaling,
Hmm.
definitely have a cup of tea, maybe, the meditation insight timer,
Right.
just listen to an audiobook.
Yes.
It's something that's
Yeah.
a romance novel, not something where you're learning business strategies
Right.
and, like
Right.
something
I
where you
agree.
can detach from thinking and processing. And,
Hmm.
I watch the news. I know that doesn't sound very relaxing these days, but for some reason, it has me not have to think because
Hmm.
it's the same loop over and over again.
Yeah.
When I go to recharge, I get in my bed, I turn on the news, and I just kind of zone out
Yeah.
until I have to get on my next call or something. So, whatever it is for you, those of you listening, think about it.
Hmm.
Come up with 3 things that you can do,
Hmm.
simple little things. Start the day not with your phone, start the day with gratitude, or, end the day with journaling, or at the end of your workday, take those 3 minutes to do a short meditation. Even if you don't know anything about meditation, these apps, they'll walk you through it. It's not
Yes.
weird or woo woo. It's just listening and being. It's
Yeah.
something that as human beings we've become human doings, not human
Yes.
beings. So practicing being can be
Yes.
very nurturing, for
So true.
sure. Yeah.
So
And is
true.
there anything I can support you with? Anything you're dealing with that's messing with you that you want some coaching on?
Oh my goodness. Do you have time?
I do. I have time if you have time.
We've had, even on my show when you were on, we talked about those messable with moments. As much as we are experts in our fields and things that we do, we still struggle with some things.
Definitely.
And one of the things that I struggle with, I think, is the messable relationship with my teenage daughter, and the buttons, that I'm thinking that I have overcome.
Deactivated, but they're still
Yes,
activatable.
they're still
Yes.
there. And I
Yeah.
just keep thinking to myself, oh my goodness, what is happening?
I have one of those teenage daughters, and I've had two over the time. So let's talk about it. So, for anybody who you're not a parent and that's not something you
Mhm.
can relate to, think of something that messes with you, that hooks you, that reactivates you, and put yourself in this conversation so you're not just listening in on Jackie and
Yeah.
Josselyne talking about, their daughters. But tell me what it is that happens that hooks you. Another way of saying being messable with for everybody is just being in a reaction, like you're
Mhm.
actually hooked, or trying to survive a situation, or
Yeah.
fight, flight, flee, freeze, that whole world, the amygdala hijack. So what happens that you are hookable or messable with?
I think just when I asked her to do a simple chore and that chore does not get done for days, and I have asked very nicely, please, can you do this? Oh, yes, I'm going to do it. And it does not get done. So at that point, I am like, okay, I do all of these things for you. You want to go here. I'm the taxi driver. I'm the Lyft, the Uber, whoever you want me to be. I'm that person. And I jump over hoops. And so you have no chores at home but to clean your room and your bathroom. Why can't we? And you know what? When she watches this, she's going to be like, Mom, why did you get on there and tell all my business?
Well, we don't have to tell her this is airing at all.
No, right?
No, no, no. Well, you don't worry. You're not the only daughter who does this, and I'm going to coach your mother, not you, so you don't have to worry about it. This is on her, not you. So I have a few things for you, okay? And this is there's no one who can't relate to asking somebody to do something and then it not getting done, and getting, what would you call that emotion that comes up at that point? That actually hooks you. Is it being frustrated? Is it being disrespected? What's the hook?
It's both of those. I do. I feel frustrated because I feel that I have asked you on multiple occasions to do this and you haven't. And then I feel very disappointed that you don't respect me enough. I feel to do those things because I'm not asking you to do a lot. I'm not asking you to run a marathon. I'm just saying, hey, can you do this? It's very doable in 30 minutes because I've gotten in your room, cleaned your closet, organized, and all of these things in about an hour's time. So I know that it's
It's
doable.
possible, right?
Yeah, it's possible. So I think those are some of the main things. And I do. I think the main one is I feel disrespected.
Yes, I completely
Yeah.
get it. So now I'm going to coach you, okay?
Okay.
Okay. So everything you said about, and she should do it and it doesn't take long, it's all like in the world of justifications, reasons,
Hmm.
and considerations. Like, she should do this because I do this for her. And
Right.
I know it's not possible because I've done this. So you can hear you're building a case for something, right?
Right.
So when you're, and I'm speaking to everybody, obviously, not
Mhm.
just you, but when you're being messable with, a lot of the flavor of the thoughts and emotions that are there are like frustration, disrespect, annoyance, a lot of shoulds and shouldn'ts are there because that messes with people. That keeps you in the world of reaction
Mm.
or survival. And then you start to justify why you're annoyed with those explanations, right? So it's like, I'm annoyed because I know you can do it. I've done it. So why can't you do it? And you should,
Right.
and you can hear it's a whole world, right? So to be unmessable with, first of all, you have to intervene in that road because your
Mhm.
brain is on a loop when you get into those moments and you start
Mhm.
thinking, and this time I did this, and then you asked me to do that, and then I drove you here, and that, and it's all like, and there's no you involved. It's all reaction.
Right.
So the first thing to do is to what I call hack what's
Mm.
happening. So if you notice in those moments where that's happening with her, what happens in your body? And for everybody, this is what I call a red flag. What's the symptom that you're about to go down this road of being messable with and annoyed and disrespected and all of that? What happens in your body?
So my head starts pounding because
Mm-hmm.
now my blood pressure is going out the roof.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Um, and I'm just really flustered and that's really what happens. My blood pressure, I believe, is just up because now I'm at that point of I've been nice all these Times.
which is more justification. So we're not going to go
Right.
there. But what
Right.
happens is your head starts pounding
Yeah.
and you experience what you would call a rise in blood pressure
Yeah.
manifested with your head.
Right.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, what I would tell you to do initially, just to hack it, is to not look for the times where she's not doing what you want her to do. Look for the head pounding because the head
Mhm.
pounding is physical and you'll be able to see that way quicker than being disrespected or annoyed or anything. It's immediate. You can see a physical reaction like that. So the
Mhm.
minute your head starts pounding, and it'll even happen when she's not even there, you'll just be thinking about what happened and you'll start to get the that's why it's not
Yeah.
triggered by her, it's something else, right? So you want to
Mhm.
catch that red flag and intervene in that brain pattern because it is actually happening in your brain. It's happening in the back of your brain. It's called the amygdala. It's where all that reaction and survival and fight, flight, flee, justify, reason out, explain, all of that happens in that part of the brain. So we want to rewire your brain in that moment. And what you need to come up with is something that you can do physically to
Mhm.
interrupt that brain pattern, that you're going to proactively be looking for the pounding head and then intervene it. So, what's something that you could do physically that would like stop
Mhm.
that? It might not stop the pounding, but it'll intervene in just going with it, you know?
Right. Right. I think something I could do. Oh man, I don't know. Something I could do in that moment. I never really thought about it.
Then
Maybe just kind of take a breather, take a
you
walk,
could.
lay
You could
down.
take a walk. I mean, sometimes that works if you're in a
Yeah.
situation where you can walk, but if you're on a Zoom call and you get that, you're not going to be able to just
Right.
like walk away. So you could come up with two things. You could come up with one, which is like getting up and walking, which
Hmm.
definitely could be useful. You could come up with like a cliff note one for that, like just shake your
Mm.
hands, or you could just stretch or stand up if you're sitting down, or sit down if you're so something that's going to change your physical stature in that
Hmm.
moment, intervene in you could even, some people do tapping, you could
Okay.
just do
Yeah.
that. So it's sort of like, okay, I'm interrupting what's happening. So what
Right.
to you could work for you? What could you try out and practice?
Yeah. I like I like the just getting up and walking because I think even if like the example you use, I'm on a Zoom call, I can turn my camera off and just get up and just walk for, even if it's in circles.
Exactly. But it's movement. I like it because you're
Yeah.
moving
Yeah.
out of one space and into
Hmm.
another. So the first step is you see the red flag. For you, it's the head pounding. Then get up and walk.
Hmm.
Now you're at neutral, which is good, but it's not really sufficient because if you're at neutral, you'll end up back in that world of reaction if you don't
Right.
create another pathway. So if you were going to create a space to go to other than frustration and disrespect, because if
Hmm.
you could create anything, you wouldn't create that, obviously.
Right.
So, what would you want to create? Like, what's your vision for your relationship with your daughter?
Um, it, it, it's to be, I know it can't be because she's not a little girl anymore, but just to have that relationship again, I feel with her of how she just adores her mom. And she just, you know, um, and I feel because of this issue with her doing the things that I asked her, there is a strain. Yes, we're still mother and daughter. I love her, she loves me, and we have mother daughter time. But there's also, I believe, a strain because I'm still in that mode that you just talked about.
But I'm going to
You
give
know?
you I'm going to give you some coaching on how to interact with her, but first I want to
Mhm.
be able to snap you out of this other thing, right?
Yeah.
So if you get to neutral and you're saying, where she adores you, but what does that allow for? What's the experience of that? Is it love? Is it cherishing? I mean, I don't know. What's the word or two that you really like, your vision for your relationship with her?
Mhm. I think that she would really cherish that she cherishes me and cherishes the time that we, spend together. That she just honors that and she understands the quality of that. And I get it. She's a teenager. She won't understand it fully like us, but excuse me, just to understand that aspect
Great. So
of
now
that.
let's move it beyond her because that's your
Mhm.
vision for her to change. That's never going to work. Okay. So, what do you really want as an experience of your relationship? That's what I mean by vision. It's kind of like,
Mm,
what do you want the quality of your relationship to be?
the quality.
Yeah, like
That's
when
a good
like
question.
yeah, it's not a normal question. It's kind of
Yeah,
like if you look at the vision, it's kind of like my relationship is full of bleh, whatever it is,
yeah.
full of maybe it's honor,
Hmm.
maybe it is cherishing, maybe it's, adoration. I don't know. But what do you really want in your relationship, not from your daughter?
So for me, not necessarily her,
Yeah,
is
well,
what
it
you're
would include her, but it wouldn't be
saying.
isolated to her.
I'd have to think about that. I never really, yeah, I never really put thought to that part.
And most people don't because most
Yeah,
people aren't looking up and out. They're looking at how do I fix what's not working?
yeah,
And
yeah.
that will keep you in the world of reaction. That's why it's so critical now that you've gotten a place to get to neutral with your getting up
Hmm.
and walking. We have to create something that you're going to go to. So let's just pick something. You're not going to be stuck with it, but we're going to pick
Right.
something so you have an alternative in those moments. What would
Okay.
just be like something that you could align behind for right now?
Of when I get in that moment to hack it.
Yeah, to be able to go to
Mhm.
what road. So if you're not going to go to frustration and disrespect, you're going to go to what do you really want to manifest in that moment?
I want to manifest that I would just be at peace,
Great.
just have peace in
Perfect.
whatever the situation is.
That's perfect. So being at peace would be now the new road we're going to carve. Now there's
Hmm.
no road, there's a big road of disrespect and annoyance, but there's
Right.
no road for peace. So this is where you have to come up with actions that will manifest peace. And
Hmm.
it would be a pre-created action, like maybe you journal, or maybe you go give her a hug even though she's driving you insane. You hack it and then you go give her a hug, or you take a deep breath or something. You want to come up with a few actions that
Okay.
will manifest or presence peace in those moments so that you have access to creating peace, not as a reaction but as a creation,
Okay.
even in the midst of mayhem. So that's one piece of it. Okay. Can you think of
Okay.
a couple, two, three actions that you could take?
Excuse me. I like the one that you said about the hug.
Yeah.
I really like that because that's I just like that.
Yeah. So that could definitely be a pre
Yeah.
created action that you could do. And, you know, breathing works for me. I use
Mhm.
that one when I want to create peace. I take like yoga breaths, in for
Oh.
4, out for 8, just
Mhm.
kind of calms your nervous system. So think about that in your journal.
Okay.
I would come up with a few, but now I want to be a little bit more about how you talk to your daughter. Okay. So when you ask her to do something, do you ask her to do it by a certain time or do you say, "Can you please clean your room?"
The second one. Can you please clean your
Yeah,
room?
that's not a real request. And this is for everybody. You oftentimes get upset with people because they don't do things when you think they should, but not when they said they would.
Oh.
So you are not creating an environment of accountability in your house and an environment of word and honoring word because there's no by whens.
Mm.
So she's going to do it someday.
Right.
Eventually, it's like you and I, oh, let's do lunch. Yeah, that'll maybe happen, maybe, just
Right.
like cleaning her room. So, what I want you to tweak with her is literally create by whens. And I would ask her for the by when.
Mm.
So, I would say, will you clean your room? If she says yes, say, great. By when will you have it done? So she gets to say. Now, if
Okay.
she says by Thursday at 2 o'clock, whatever, and you have people coming over that night for dinner and you want it done earlier, you say, okay, I got that, but I have people coming over tonight and I actually want to know what do you need so that it can be done by 5 o'clock today?
Mm.
What support would you need so that
Right.
that could happen? And then you'll see what you're dealing with. And you might have to do it if she's going out and has other plans, whatever. But then she's got a word in the matter
Right.
of her room rather than you having an expectation in the matter. You now have a
Mm.
word to deal with. So if she doesn't do it by Thursday at 2 o'clock, if Thursday at 9 a.m. comes and you see the room still isn't done, you might even check in with her and say, I know you told me that you would have your room done by 2 o'clock today. Are you still set up to do that? Is that
Right.
still going to happen? Yes, mom, absolutely. So now
Yeah.
you're dealing in the world of word. That's where unmessable with comes from,
Mm.
versus the world of reaction, expectation, shoulds, shouldn'ts. So what are you hearing? Tell me what you hear from that one
I
tweak.
like that. But let me tell you this. I have done that. Of when do you think? And giving timelines for her.
And
And I have not gotten a result.
well, what has she said?
I'm going to do it. So if I say, I need your room clean today, so maybe I should ask, but normally I would say,
Yeah, but
I need
today's
your
not a
room.
time.
Oh,
It's not specific. It's like
but
if you worked for me or if I worked for you and I said I'll get you that report at some point on Friday, how are you going to plan the rest of your interactions around that
that's true.
report? You got to give it to me. By what time are you going to get it to me? So then I can plan my meeting afterwards. And you have to stop being messable with your word, because you're not creating words. You don't operate with by whens with her. So you've got to start to be that, which is like, listen, she says, can you drive me, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I can do it. By 5 o'clock, I can leave. Start training the environment to be by whens, because those are real promises and those
Right,
are real requests. If I say, let's do lunch, but I don't say Friday at 12, that's not a real lunch.
right. That's true.
So
Yeah.
do that one tweak, and you can even tell her, I can see I get frustrated a lot because you don't, do things the way I think you should do them. I'm going to try a new game, okay? It's
Mm,
going to be called the reality game or the by when game, and I'm just going to start asking you by when so that you get to say by when instead of me thinking when you should do it. Now you get to be the author
right,
of by when you're going to do it. It'll give her so much power if you actually start to, but then you've got to live up to it. So if it's Friday at 2, she said she'd do something and it gets to be, you should check in with her before. Are you still on track to doing this?
hmm,
Friday 2. And then if Friday at 2 comes and she hasn't done it, you need to deal with that. And there are
right.
consequences in real life. She's in high school now, she's graduating. You go to
Yeah,
a workplace and you don't show up at 9 a.m., you get fired. So there have to be consequences. And most parents are horrible at honoring their own word with their kid. They're like, only one more episode of SpongeBob, 6 episodes later. It's like, okay, one more, because they don't want to deal with
yeah.
what there is to deal with. So you pay the rent, I'm assuming.
Hmm.
You get to make the rules. I'm so sorry. Once she leaves your
Yeah,
house, it's a different story. But at this point, it's like if she is consistently not doing what she says, there's got to be a consequence, not like a
right,
punishment, but just say, listen, we can't function. It
right,
doesn't work if we don't all keep our word to each other. So, what support do you
right.
need? Do you need alarms? What do you need so that you can be a woman of your word
Yeah. I like that.
in life, right?
I'm going to try that
Okay.
today.
Good. Then you let me know. You know how to reach me. And
Yeah,
let's see if we can just tweak that one thing in your interactions with her, plus the hacking and coming from
right,
the place of peace. So you're not coming from fixing her, you're coming from creating a space of peace in your relationship.
right. Okay. I'm
Okay.
game. Game
Game
on.
on. That's you speak my language exactly. Okay, good. And then what would you like to leave people with, or how can they find you, or how can they work with you and take advantage of your amazing products?
Yeah.
What would you like to tell people?
So definitely, you can find me on social media. So on Instagram, it's Jacquuie O. That's JACQUIEOOH. Everything is on my website. You can shop on my website. All of my amazing products. I have a couple of complimentary resources that are on my website. All of my upcoming events are on my website, and that is Jacquuie O. Again, that's JACQUIEOOH. That's where you can find me. I'm also on Facebook, Jacquuie O Blog. So those are the two main social media platforms where you can find me. And again, on my website. And the thing that I would want to leave with the audience is wow. First of all, I needed this coachable moment.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad.
I'm at my wits' end with my daughter, but I do love her, and so I
Yes.
know it's all a part of parenting. So again, I do want to leave with you about self care and just taking care of yourself. And I know it may sound cliche, and we hear it all the time, but I'm telling you that self care is very crucial for our well being, and that is just high level in a nutshell. What I want to say is just take care of yourself, find the things that work for you, and do it.
Yeah, it's
Do it.
not all one size fits all. I like how you
That's
say
right.
that. Find what works for you, and that
Yes.
is something to discover for yourself. And I know you
Mhm.
wanted to offer our listeners like a
Mhm.
bonus, or yeah, what are we going to be putting in our show notes for people as a gift?
Yes. So we're going to offer 10% off of all of anything that you purchase on our website. Will be 10%. We do have a couple of books that's on there as well. We have a
Okay.
devotional and we have another book called Dare to Sparkle. So if you are looking to start a business, that book would be for you. Dare to Sparkle. Step out and just do it. And that book was, I did that because when I helped my daughters start their business and everything I learned along the way,
Yeah.
I put in there because, hey, it was some things that I learned and I would like for other people not to bump their heads like I did.
Yeah, isn't that so true? It's like I just want to save people the
Yeah,
15 years of thinking you can't do something, cut it short.
exactly.
Take 15 minutes, not 15 years.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, it's great.
So that is what we're offering. And we would love for y'all to shop with us and to support us. And another thing, too, when you shop with us, is you shop with a purpose. You shop with a purpose. And what I mean by that is because I was a single mom when I started the business with my daughters. And so when I stated earlier, I didn't think about it. I didn't think about the money. I probably should have because I was living from paycheck to paycheck. I was going through a divorce. My divorce wasn't even final yet. And so I was just getting back into the workforce when all of this was happening, but I did it. So, I know what it's like to be a single mom. I know what it's like to be short on gas and you need to go to work, the next day, to be a little short on groceries, to have to shuffle this bill to do that. So
Mm.
what we do is a portion of the sales from our glow collection, we put that aside, and every month, literally every month we do this. We either randomly pick a single mom that follows us on our Instagram, or we get requests that come in asking if we can help with gas, if we can help with groceries, and it might just be a just because, and we do that for single moms. So when you do shop our glow collection, it goes to that. Another thing that some of the sales go towards is our motivational Monday with Jacquuie O, which is a show that you were on.
Yes, that was so
And
much fun.
we are all about really helping, we're just showing our guests a small token of our appreciation because they don't have to take time out of their schedule to be on our show to share their expertise. So we give them just a small token of our appreciation for taking time out being on the show. So all of that comes from our sales from the Glow Collection. So that is you shopping with a purpose. And I just
I
want to
love it.
say to everyone that shops with us, our customers that we have that are loyal, thank you all so much. I'm serious. I really, really appreciate you all because you don't have to shop with us, but you do. And I appreciate that.
That's beautiful, and hopefully we'll create a whole new crop of people that can shop
Yes.
with you. And I love that you give it to actual people, not just an
Yes.
organization, that it's reaching the people who actually need the gas, need the groceries.
Mhm.
That's impact, it's local, but it's a global reach because if
Absolutely.
everybody did that, one
Yeah,
person a day, we'd have a different world. So thank you so much for
absolutely.
everything that you do. And thank you so much for this conversation and for the opportunity to coach you, which you know is my passion and my mission.
Yes,
So we get to express our missions together. And
absolutely.
totally. And so for everybody else, we'll see you on the next episode of the Be Unmessable With podcast, where you get to learn how to be unmessable with.
Unmessable with. Woohoo.
So if you're someone who has been putting yourself last, burning out, powering through, reacting to life instead of creating it, let this be your wake-up call and your reminder that self-care isn't optional and it isn't selfish. It's foundational. Whether it's 3 minutes of breathing, a walk around the block, or just setting real boundaries with your phone, your peace of mind matters. And if you're ready to go even deeper and truly shift from surviving to thriving, then grab my free gift, which is a workshop with Dr. Sandra Rice Hardy. It's called From Burnout to Unmessable With, and it's right below. The link is right below, and it is the next step in your journey. Trust me, you do not want to miss it. If this hits home, just wait until you see what we unpack in the next video. Watch it now.